Thank you very much, Madam MC. Good afternoon. I don't sound so hungry when I eat from morning. Good afternoon. We're here to celebrate. It's a time for celebration. And I reflect at one time in Jamaica, we couldn't even graduate from high school, much less graduating at this level. So we have made some excellent strides as Jamaicans, and we're very proud. We're particularly proud of the work that Mrs. Carnegie and her team has been doing. And I've been there from the early days, so I know some of the struggles that she had to go through. I want to also, let me pay tribute to Honorary Patron Dr. the Honorable Rufus Ewing. Of course, I said Kerry-Ann, who is my very good friend and who started in Jamaica as a nurse from very humble background, but one of the most progressive and ambitious ladies you'll ever meet. Also, yes, please, that's a fact. Dr. Paulette Stewart, Librarian and Education Administration, Lynette Brown, Administrator and Finance Director, Renee Griffiths, Student Service Director, Chevony Austin, Admission Director, Tajane McRae, Social Media Manager, and of course, Tanisha Bent, teacher and instructor. Parents, friends, graduates, I must say that you are at a good place at a good time. Jamaica for some time, I mentioned earlier, and of course my very good friend from Turks and Caicos, who actually needs, when I saw his face, I said, I know that face from somewhere. Then I recognized that he is a big man from Turks and Caicos. And of course, Jamaica has a wonderful relationship with Turks and Caicos over the many, many years. Some of us have family members who works there, and some of us go there for vacation, but it's a country that we're very attuned with. But I mentioned earlier, my friends, that there was a time, not long ago, that Jamaicans could not go to high schools unless you were of a particular complexion and you had a lot of money. So when you hear us celebrating the great high schools, which we are very proud of, back in the day, a lot of us could not go there. When we speak of George's and we speak of Wolmer's and we speak of Campion, although Campion is kind of a new school, the traditional schools, you and I could not go there. It is only in 1957 that we established common entrance, that we could go to high school if you had the talent. The government at the time said, look, it's time we educate our people. No country can progress if we do not have an educated society. We oftentimes brag about Singapore and how Singapore is an example. Because you know, Singapore is about the size of Hanover, with about 4 million people living in there. Can you imagine? Hanover and 4 million, we have 3 million people or just about. But Singapore has almost 4 million persons in a little place like Hanover. But one of the things that Lee Kuan Yew did when he became the head of Singapore is to train people, engineers, teachers, nurses, doctors, lawyers. He trained these people so that he could have an equipped workforce to build the country. Now, Jamaica has a challenge because we cannot train enough nurses. Am I correct? Right now, Canada, US, England, even Turks and Caicos to take some of our nurses. We do not have enough nurses, and we cannot train enough nurses. But I believe this is a fantastic opportunity for us. Some people see it as, boy, America take away nurse them. There's nothing wrong with that. If it wasn't for enough nurse, we go to America, go work and send back money, we would not be having the US that we are getting to balance the budget. If it wasn't for some of our nurses who went abroad, who had to send back money so that their little brothers and sisters could go to university, where would they be today? So I say we do not need to condemn America for taking our nurses. What we need to do, Mrs. Carnegie, is to train more nurses so we can supply the need. Jamaicans are unique people, and sometimes we wonder. You have countries like India with 1.4 billion people. You have China with 1.4 billion. You have Cuba that has trained hundreds of thousands of nurses. But yet, I believe that Jamaican nurses are the most enviable nurses in the world and are in demand all over the world. Why is that so? Because Jamaicans are different people. No matter what you want to say, Jamaicans are some unique individuals. You know, they say that there's an argument in a very jovial way. They say the word slaves came to Jamaica. It's not really so. It's the baddest ones came to Jamaica. Because there are two types of, and I don't like to use the word slaves. Some of our foreparents were enslaved. But we are never slaves. Black people are the inventors of everything. Yes. And maybe one of the things we need to change in the school system in Jamaica is to start teaching our children about our history started with slavery. Our history did not start with slavery. Some of us were kidnapped by evil people and brought here and were enslaved. But we are the inventors of civilization. Mathematics was invented by black people. It is the black man who discovered the white man who was running up and down in animal skins while we were sitting on golden stools. It is we who taught him to read and write. It is we who taught him civilization, and that's a fact. Just recently, the Europeans, scientists have finally admitted that if there is an Adam and Eve, they would have come from somewhere in the region of Tanzania. And Adam and Eve were black people. So the first man and the first woman are two beautiful black people. So we have a lot to be proud of. Don't teach our children that we started with slavery. Teach them of our greatness, how we ruled the world for many years, and how we brought civilization to the rest of the world, how resilient we are. So Jamaicans are particularly special because there are two types of enslaved people that came here. They were hunter-gatherers, and they were hunters and grain gatherers. The gatherers were the farmers, plant the thing, and the hunters were the brave ones who went out and faced the lions. Those are usually very small in body, and the grain gatherers were bigger and stronger. So between Haiti and Jamaica, when they come up the coast here, the worst slaves were left off up here, so because they were too bad. And the smaller in body, so the price was lower. So the cheaper one them come here, but them were the baddest one them. The fact is, our enslaved ancestors that came here were very resilient, strong, and brave people. More importantly, my friends and graduates, one of the reasons we're coming to the point why Jamaican nurses are so envious, Jamaicans always find a way out. An Englishman said to me one day, if him go to hell, all him want to do is to buck up a Jamaican. Because him know him going to find a way out. A couple years ago, the devil sent out a memo that they have some Jamaicans down him have to get rid of because him start install air condition down the hell. Jamaicans are creative people. Jamaicans always find a way out. We are solution-orientated. So when a nurse walks into a hospital, and Kerry can tell you, when a nurse walks into an hospital in England or in Canada, and they have an emergency, the Jamaican is the one can always, first of all, has a steady head, and secondly, they find solutions. Because some of them remember the days when they're at KPH, and 6 gunshot wounds come in, and they don't have sometimes the materials to treat to the patients, and look here, man, them turn them hand and make fashion. So Jamaicans are leaders. Jamaicans are creative people. And therefore, I am saying to the government of Jamaica, rather than frown or quarrel with America taking your nurses, let us partner with the United States of America, like what this great institution is doing, and train enough nurses to take care of our local needs and the needs of the international partners who want our nurses. The next time I see Minister Tufton, I will have a talk with him about it. Because I really believe that what is being done here this evening, or with this company for the last, 10 years, and they've been training nurses in Jamaica for 5 years, we need more of this. We need more of this. Now, why is it that our nurses are so in great demand? Jamaican people are genuinely a caring set of people. Not true. It's only nowadays, that them start all have nursing homes, We don't like nursing home, because here what now? We like take care of old people, them. Somebody take care of them in the home. We are caring people. And we don't want to lose that little touch of being a caring. No matter where you are in Jamaica and something. Although nowadays, every time I look at accident, to say everybody have video. But genuinely, there's someone who wants to help that person. We are a caring set of people. And we don't want to lose that. And I want to charge all the nurses here today to understand that these are the characteristics that are going to distinguish you different from the other nurses around the world. The other thing, as I said before, we are creative. We can turn with hand and make fashion. We are fast learners. If you show a Jamaican, a matter of fact, we in the Caribbean here, because I'm sure it's the same as Turks and Caicos. If you show a Jamaican man something one time, and he'll learn it, you think it has no sense, After the second time, I say, well, it have no sense. We expect him to learn the first time, While internationally, you should show a person the task 3 to 5 times for you can reasonably expect them to learn. But we have such a high expectation of our fellow Jamaicans that after the second time, we are wondering if he had right. Not true. We don't have no patience because we expect you to be smart. Mind you, we don't tell them sometimes, we show them because we're very practical learners. We're Africans, right? So we are fast learners. As I said, we are problem solvers. When we go to America and work as nurses, now I say we like me as a nurse, but you ladies will find out later on. The clinical experience that you have here, they don't have that in America, They don't have it. I don't know if it's such a good thing sometimes because we need to stop killing off one another. But we have more clinical experience than they do. The other thing that we must remember about us and what makes us special is that we have a brand called Jamaica. And we take it for granted. Anywhere in the world you go, if they see the Jamaican call upon you, or they hear you talk and say, where you come from? And I said, Jamaica. All of a sudden, they treat you differently. No matter where you go. I mean, yeah, you have some, then you go through immigration, they might think they are runaway, but generally when you go to Switzerland or you go to Italy or anywhere you go in the world, I said, Jamaica, everybody want to hug you up. Tell me about Bob Marley, Usain Bolt. Them all call Marcus Garvey name. The fact is they are Jamaicans who have spent their lives building a brand for us. In 1948, we dominated the Olympics with Otto Wint and the rest of them. Yes? So it's not just Usain Bolt and make the thing, We had make this thing. Remember Don Quarry? Anybody remember Donald Quarry? Then Merlin Ottey. When people take drugs and Merlin couldn't break the world record. She was the fastest in the world at that time. She was in truth and fact the world record holder. Because other people were on drugs. Those people went before us to build this thing called Brand Jamaica. I heard in the session earlier somebody was talking about General Electrics. A couple of years ago, they did a study of brands and they included Jamaica as a brand. And at that time when we looked at the study, General Electrics as a brand, Jamaica was bigger than General Electrics. When we looked at the money that General Electrics used just to advertise annually, it was more than what we used to run the entire country. Can you imagine? Our national budget to run the entire country, pay every nurse, run a hospital, pay a police, pay a teacher, do everything. All the money that we used at that time to run this country, GE at that time was using much more just to advertise. Yes? So if you think of this brand called Jamaica, when you look at Nike, when you look at Sony, when you look at all of these big brands, it must have cost about $5 million for a 30-second add-on Super Bowl in America. So if you were to build that brand, it would take a lot of money. Jamaica has a brand that all of us own, and we must start making money off it, including our nurses. And I'm giving a challenge to our graduates today that when you go to America, don't just go there to make money and send back for mommy and send back for your children and send back for your brother and sister. Look at how you can come back to Jamaica and start businesses, because we are natural entrepreneurs, you know. What do you call it, hustler? I see them thinking, you know. We are hustlers. Jamaican people are natural entrepreneurs. I want to see, Mrs. Carnegie, the next generation of nurses coming back home as investors and create retirement villages. Retirement villages. For our own Jamaicans to retire and live in comfort. We don't want to have no just nursing home with some people that they are just bodies. We want to provide that Jamaican care for our own here. And then you have foreigners who would love to come here to live in a warm atmosphere for 12 months for the year. And their families can fly down 4 hours from New York and they are in Jamaica to take care of their families. We should be having 10, 12, 15 retirement villages that our nurses can be part owners in. You have to start, when you go abroad, you have to start thinking about how may I come back to Jamaica and what kind of business I'm going to come back and start. Because we must make our country grow. If you talk to a Jew, he tells you he wants to go to Israel. Even though they might bomb up them one and there's so much risk and security problem, but they want to go to their land. Well, let me tell you, my fellow Jamaicans, Jamaica belongs to us. And it is time we understand that while we never had a revolution to take over the country, we in fact our ancestors worked for 300 years without pay for this country. It is ours. So I don't just want these bright, beautiful ladies, nurses to go to America and Canada to work and all. I want you to come back and build your country. We're going to fix the crime problem no matter what a man says, we're going to fix it. 200 years ago, crime was worse in England. We can fix the problem here. And we're going to fix it. I'm going back into Parliament, by the way, to try and help fixing it. It's not difficult to fix. And we can, once we put our minds to it, we can fix it. So I really want to encourage the graduates today. I think it's a great opportunity. And for those who are not here, who could not graduate, are not ready to graduate, I want to say keep pushing. Put your best foot forward. And remember, when you go abroad, you are like Usain Bolt. You're like Bob Marley. You're like Marcus Garvey, who went before, who represented your country. We must dispel this notion that Jamaicans are Ginnals and Jamaicans. I mean, we have a little way about we still have. I told a man the other day that I think our most popular hero, maybe not now, but when I was growing up, our most popular hero was Brother Nancy. At the National Hero, we see so much story about Brother Nancy. Any young people know about Brother Nancy? Oh, well, you know. Okay. All of the older folks will know about Brother Nancy. We used to tell about Brother Nancy because Brother Nancy was one of the survival heroes during the time of slavery. And we used to tell those stories to our children and passed it down because we want them to survive. So we have a little thing about, part of the creativity, because Brother Nancy was a very creative man, You know if you get round. The fact is, those persons who went ahead of us paved the way for us. And therefore, the nurses today have a responsibility to continue to repair the negatives that is out there about Jamaica and to continue building on the positive image that we have as a country. And most importantly, please learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can. I want to say one quick thing before I go. When I started my business in back in the day, and I'll tell you my age, but I started my business with $40 on a bicycle. Because at the time I had knowledge that very few people had in Jamaica. The reason why I had that knowledge is because I was willing to go the extra mile for my customers all the time. And so I amassed a lot of knowledge. When you nurses now go into a hospital in America and you hear them having a seminar on whatever it is, how to operate certain machines, you know, go to everyone. Learn as much as you can. Volunteer as much as you can, because you're going to develop knowledge that's going to empower you tomorrow. Make sure you maximize on each opportunity that reaches you. So congratulations, graduates. I am very happy to be here, and I congratulate the school, the leaders of the school, who has been struggling and working hard to build this brand. And I guarantee you in another 5-10 years from now, you will be surprised to see what is going to happen. I'm going to agitate that the United States and Canada partner with us, both from private sector and government, to partner with this school so that we can train more nurses to supply both Jamaica and internationally. Congratulations, thank you, and all the very best.